Yo, welcome to another exciting edition of the Doc and GM NBA Recap Show. I am GM, along with my NBA loving partner, the Doc, man. We make up the duo, Doc and GM. What's up, man?
What's up?
Shoot, man.
Hey, man.
You know what it is.
Yes, that's
We recap the NBA. Excuse me. There is a lot to recap today, my man.
Yeah.
Before we get into what we're going to get into, man, tell the people who we are, where we can be found, man.
Well, we are the Doc and GM NBA Recap to be found on YouTube, mylifesounds.com.
Mylifesounds.com. It sounds millennial, man.
So.
All right, so basically, for y'all who don't know, man, what we do is we break down the NBA as the show intimates, basically week to week. And, man, the week ended with a big bang, bro.
Yep.
Minnesota finally gets rid of Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
So we're definitely going to get into that. In the first quarter, second quarter of the show, we basically do 4 quarters NBA style, 12 minutes. Second quarter, man, we can go over what that means to the East.
Okay.
What it means for the East. What it means for the league as it pertains to the balance of power.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of it shifting west to east now.
Wow.
What that means. Third quarter, we can go over the East. What that means. Like what?
West.
I'm sorry?
West.
There you go. Third quarter, we can go over the West. Excuse me. What does that mean? We knew and we thought the West was almighty and powerful, right?
Right.
Are they still? You got teams like Houston under 500, Pelicans under 500. So
we'll
are they
see.
okay? And then fourth quarter, of course, we'll do our Did You Click It segment.
Right.
Basically, what we do is we peruse the internet and sometimes even television shows, and we choose what we're going to click and read, right? And so we brought a couple of articles to the table, and we'll go over that. So in a nutshell, man, that's the show. Without further ado, Minnesota trades Jimmy Butler.
About time.
Yeah. Big trade, blockbuster. So I think the deal was what? Jimmy
Goes to Philly.
Okay.
For Robert Covington and Dario.
So they got 2 starters for 1.
Yep. And some other guy goes back with Jimmy.
Sure, of course.
And a 2022 draft pick goes to Minnesota. Second round draft pick in 2022.
So, as I always say, man, bite off any part of that apple you want. You want the stem, you want the juicy red part. I don't care. Bite that apple, man.
Sweet. What is? It's a good trade for Philly. For all teams involved.
Okay. All right. You're like Charles Barkley. I think that was his take on it.
Yeah, all teams involved came out because the fact is it was going to be hard to get an all-star for Jimmy. Just based on the current market and whatnot.
Yeah, there ain't there's not many all-stars available right now. Right.
And like we talked about last week, it was going to come down to them taking just a wimpy little maybe draft pick package if they waited this out.
They weren't doing that.
If they were going to even be able to wait this out because it was just becoming toxic.
Right.
So, yeah, so this is a good trade. They got 2 good young players who can shoot the ball, play
Minnesota.
good D. Yeah. And Philly get Jimmy Butler and all that brings.
Okay, so you say good for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone okay, of course you never know until it all pans out. But did anyone win?
That remains to be seen.
Okay.
See, because hypothetically, this is what we've talked about. This is Cat's time to step up and show what he can really do. He
had a good night the other night.
Is he really that guy? Is he an Embiid, or is he just maybe numbers Embiid but not impact Embiid? You know what I mean? Like he's supposed to be a that caliber player.
Mm-hmm.
So now's his time to show he can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The Derrick Rose resurgence is real right now.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Wiggins still could be somebody, and they got real? Dario and Robert Covington.
So I got an interesting. Did you click it on what you just said? D Rose has been part of one of my favorite athletes for a period of time.
Yeah,
I got frustrated with him personally.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll bring him up a little later in the Did You Click It. But is Derrick Rose's resurgence real?
You remember what I told you in preseason?
That what this
That
is
this
his
could.
chance.
When I saw him in preseason, I said this looked like it could be a bounce back year for him. I'm sticking with it.
Okay. All right. As I mentioned to you earlier when we heard about the trade, and we were talking on the phone earlier this afternoon, I asked you a question. Is anyone? I asked the question to you earlier. Does anyone pout? I'll ask you this way: Is anyone unhappy right now? Like is Robert Covington saying, "Man, why am I not in Philly having a cheesesteak right now? Instead, I'm in Minnesota."
Possibly because they were on a winning team.
Yeah,
that was contending for the East.
Correct.
So now they go out to the West. It's wild out West. They're currently on a losing team, and it's wild out West.
Okay.
So yeah,
because
I don't know. They don't strike me as I don't know them like that. I don't know.
Well, how about this?
Them, but I don't know.
Throw this into your equation. Presumably, one, if not both of them, just lost their starting role. They used to be starters in the NBA.
Wow, yeah, one of them's probably not going to be.
And it could be two of them are not starters in the NBA anymore.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, because they were both starters.
Yeah,
both contributed. As I was talking to you on the phone, I watched a lot of Philly last year, and so I've learned a lot about them as an organization. And if I'm not mistaken, Dario was number 2 in three-point efficiency behind Durant last year. And I know for sure I've heard several times this year, as far as stats, that Robert Covington was the number 1 catch and shoot guy.
And they work well for what Philly does.
And they both played on the defensive end.
Right. So.
And now you're on the bench behind Wiggins, potentially?
Probably. Yeah. That's where you're at right now. So
everybody may not be happy. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know. I don't know.
I think Jimmy's the happiest. I mean, I think those two guys, I don't know if they're going to pout, but they can't be happy about it, I don't think.
Right.
But are they going to pout and, no. They don't have the clout to even pout as it is. Mm-hmm. And so people, they're going to go and try to do what they do.
Okay, all right, going forward, because we only got a couple minutes left in this segment. Tibbs.
Yep.
I know a little bit from the outside watching a lot. I'm not saying I know him intimately, but I've watched him as a coach every night when he coached the Bulls. Trust me, believe it, fans. I wasn't like skipping games. I'm watching the games. But we know his coaching style.
Yeah. Play
his starters until they're dust.
Run them into the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Until they're literally dust.
Mm-hmm.
There was a comment from Jimmy Butler that came up this week about that fact has to end, and definitely it's going to end with him going to Philly. But what does is Minnesota destined to be what I think that they can only go as far as Tibbs is going to take him, and that's not going to be very far because of him, his style, his lack of offensive creativity.
Yeah,
and so Minnesota. So
to me, Tibbs is a great assistant coach. I don't know if I would want him to be the head coach of my team.
Wow, no, many people have said that. No? Yeah.
I like him, and I like him a lot. And I'm a Tibbs guy. I like him, but his coaching style sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired, offensive creativity and whatnot. Like defensive-wise, that's why I rock with him because he'll set your defense up right, even though it hasn't been doing well in Minnesota. But that's part of the thing. He's not getting cats to buy into what he's doing, so I don't know.
Well,
they may need a different voice.
He's got a D-Rose that'll buy into it. Todd's that'll buy into it, I would imagine, for a little bit.
I'm talking about cats he doesn't know.
Yeah. I've always told you I thought that was their biggest problem was their
and that's part of how we are here now with this Jimmy Butler situation. Tibbs inherited that roster in Minnesota. He couldn't connect with those guys. His solution was to bring in cats he had already coached and Butler and Gibson, and then eventually D Rose.
Well,
Yeah, man.
Like you said,
that's his style. He brought those cats in, and those personalities, particularly Jimmy, didn't jive with the new guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, like you say, the winners and losers will be decided here in a couple of months.
Yeah.
But I saw, before we go into this next quarter, man, I saw an interesting thing that said, basically Minnesota turned Laurie Market and Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn into Dario
and your boy,
Robert Covington, because that's what they got from Minnesota. I wonder. I guess they'd be happy. I don't know. Zach LaVine's hot. I may have to bite my tongue on Zach LaVine. He's a hot commodity right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's playing well this year so far.
All right, man. So that's first quarter, man. Minnesota. I guess that we'll wrap it up with just saying to be determined later, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. That's what's up.